Yeah, I like that.
I know that's rocking, ain't it?
Yeah, yeah. I'm back with the root beer.
Hell yeah.
Dude,
Straight to hell. Shout at the devil.
I'm gonna say it looked like Steven Tyler for a second.
It's Satan.
It's Satan. Listen to that
It's
thing.
called Stout at the Devil. It's an oatmeal stout brewed with coffee. Actually, I have some information about it. This beer is brewed in Huntsville, Alabama. So
Stout,
it's a local, yeah.
stout, stout at
And
the
it's
devil.
yeah, that's right. That's right. They started in 2009. They're one of Alabama's largest production breweries, like of
You.
major production and craft brewery. So that's pretty amazing. And they have such an influence on Huntsville, Alabama, that the mayor proclaims February 14th straight to L Day. So I guess everybody in
Straight to
Huntsville,
L.
yeah, straight to L. But
Does
this is
that
good.
mean does that
It's got
mean
like
you drink
a
a little too
bill and
much and you're just like
yeah, straight to L, man.
straight to
You're
L?
down the floor. But it's got oatmeal in it. It's brewed with sea salt, caramel coffee.
Oh,
Yeah,
ew.
dude, it's good. No, it's good. It's good with like barbecue and chocolate. You know what I mean? Very, very good. I don't
Well,
know if you can get this anywhere. Like, I'm sure you can get it like pretty much anywhere. I guess if there's a Winn Dixie or a Publix.
we don't
I
got
don't
Winn
know.
Dixie or Publix up here.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It says Southern Broods, Southern Bread. So
Southern Southern
it might be
bread.
a Southern thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Right. Speaking of barbecue, I hear you've been speaking with my brother, and you're gonna get some samples from him.
Yeah, I was just gonna talk about that. Speaking of barbecue, about the beer, Fat Jack's sauce.
Fat
He's in
Jack,
Pennsylvania. Fat Jack's.
Fat Jack.
He's out there in Pennsylvania, and it's Ken's brother.
It's why
And
I'm so
he,
fat because I eat his good food. Look
yeah,
at that
he
double
he
dipping
sent me
mofo.
he sent me some pictures of some of the stuff he does and wants to cook. But he's gonna, send me some stuff, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make some barbecue on Saturday, drink some beer, try the sauces, talk about it, and if y'all like anything about it, y'all can go to his Facebook. It's
Oh
Fat
yeah.
Jack Sauce on Facebook, and I gotta say I'm looking forward to the apple pie and the spicy pickle barbecue
Oh, that
sauce.
dude, that spicy pickle is
He said it's fire. He said it is
mine.
delicious.
Like you could like take some of that spicy pickle and like just put it itself on like a rib sandwich, like with
Hmm.
the adds the barbecue sauce, and you have like your McRib right there because it's got enough pickle taste to it to taste like you have pickles without the pickles.
Oh
Like
yeah, I'm excited.
it's a little spicy, it's a little tangy, it's a little sweet, and it's like a lot of yum. So
He's got a
you're
lot of peach. He uses a lot of peach too on his list. So if y'all like peach sauces, I'm not really big into the peach. He's got a peach pie, which
it,
sounds like a peach
it's all
cobbler.
good. It's all
Yeah,
good.
but
Trust me.
I'm looking forward to the apple pie. But yeah, hell yeah, Fat Jack sauce,
Well,
and he's
what he
got beard
does,
stuff too. But
yeah, he
he
does
said he's scaling
beard
down on the
oils and soaps and lotions. He started out basically doing this soap thing, and he got into it and met some friends, much like I've met people in the reptile community. We was doing this at the same time. He started soap, I started snakes. Well, he seen that I was kind of succeeding in the like YouTube format and online, so he's like, "Well, I'm going to try to go online." And then he was like, "Well, I'm going to do something with sauce too." So he got the soap thing going, and then like he's always been a chef. Like he's worked in kitchens his whole life. Like, and he started his sauce, and dude, he's like a sauce maniac. Like he's read books on like different kinds of sauces and how to make them and this and that. Like he's a sauce god. I'll
He
say that.
said he had. He said he makes about 400, and
Yeah.
also I meant to mention he said he makes custom sauces. So if
Yep.
you want like a custom sauce and you tell him what you want in it for the right price, he'll make it for you. I don't know what he charges, but we're gonna get all that information and we're gonna put his logo up on the intro and we're gonna rock him out, man. Fat Jack sauce.
He's getting ready. His next big release is going to be like a 4 sauce set that's going to be made with, I think one's Dr. Pepper, one's
Cola.
cherry
Yeah.
Coke. Yeah. And he's going to do one
Beer.
orange, one root beer, cherry Coke, and I think Dr. Pepper. He's
Hmm.
going to make 4 sauces out of pop and then put them out. So that should be
Yeah.
interesting.
And his whole list of all of his stuff is on his Facebook. So again, Fat Jack Sauce. If you just go to, it's the one in Pennsylvania. I looked it up on Facebook. I don't have Facebook, but when I looked it up, there was a bunch of different things. One was in New Jersey, which I thought it was him, and he said, "No, I ain't from Jersey,
Hey,
but
from Jersey.
he's in Pennsylvania." But yeah, man, hit him up. But I seen that you made a nice rack, man. You
Yeah, I
made
made a new
a
rack.
new melamine mail rack.
Yeah, it's kind of a mail rack. I have all my mails out here now, and I will tell you, I'm getting a better feed response out of my males with having them in a totally separate room than my females. Like usually, I might be able to get one or two to eat like every week. This week, I got all but two to eat, so it was a big turnaround. I'm hoping to over the next 2 months give all my males a break because I think I got 8 females off food that usually don't go off food. So I'm pulling the males and I'm just going to give them time to rue, give them eggs time to form and stuff without getting any more snake wiener to them.
Have you
So
dropped? So you drop your temperature or no?
no,
You just separated into a different room.
yeah, I just separated into a different room. I'm keeping it at 90 degrees, like the rear temperature, because I'm a firm believer if they want to get cold, they could just go to the front of the tub.
Yeah.
They got enough room to sit to the front or sit to the back. And it's, I don't think there's really an issue with it because some of them are sitting in the back and some of them are sitting up front. It's
They'll
just,
move.
well,
They'll
yeah,
move.
whatever the snake wants to do. You know what I mean? I've seen them up front, I've seen them at back, so like it all depends on what they want. But yeah, it's been I've seen an immediate food response, so that's good.
Did you route use heat tape obviously, but did you route
Yeah.
out or is it just rubbed on it? Is it like rubbing it or is it
Okay, so
powdered or
no,
elevated or
I did rear heat. I did an
back panel?
oversized, yeah, I did an
Okay.
oversized back panel.
Okay.
And the whole first day, what I did that I had it running, I didn't have any snakes in there yet, but I had tubs set up with substrate in it. And I would push it all the way back and pull it out like maybe 3 inches to where I could get that heat gun, an accurate point on the back to where it was down to 90. I had to set the thermostat to 99 degrees, but the heat tape's reading 99, but it's just sitting back there. So like that last, I'd say 3 inches
Yeah, it's not
of
even
there.
touching nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, no, it is touching the back part of it, the top of the lip.
Oh,
The lid
okay.
touches it, but the back 3 inches of the tub are reading 90 degrees. So it took me about a half a day of, putting the tub back against it, letting
Tweaking
it
it.
sit. Yeah, let it sit an hour, pull it out, test it, too hot, turn it down. So I started at 110 and I was pulling like 95 degrees with 110. So I just tweaked it down, and at 99 seems to be the sweet spot to where it's sent between 89 and 90. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and that's the main reason I leave my incubator plugged in all year. Like my incubator never gets cut off because, like you said, it took about a day or so for
Hmm.
you to get that temperature right. And man, it sucks when you've got eggs, clusters of eggs, and your incubator is not reading right, so you can't put them in there, or you do put them in there, and it's fluctuating, and you're having to play with it for almost 2 days, trying to get it perfect dialed in. So once I got my incubator, and I have to adjust my racks a lot more than I, would want to. But I think that's because the temperature in the room fluctuates, in the
Yes,
different seasons.
you just said
But
something that I've noticed with at least cheaper thermostats. If you're going to use these cheaper thermostats, do not let your room temperature get above 80 because
mhm,
for some reason, I'm not sure why, I don't know exactly why, when your room temperature gets above 80, it sets these thermostats into fits to where they're not really reading properly, and your it'll go up. Your temperatures will go up. Like it'll get to like 94 or 95 degrees. Last year I had my that's why I switched thermostats on my incubator, because it got hot and then my air conditioner broke, and then that day like my temperatures were spiking around 94, 95, and I'm like, shit, I'm going to burn these eggs up.
Yeah.
I'm freaking out. So I had another air conditioner, thankfully. So it was a quick fix with just putting another air conditioner in. But as soon as I got that room cooled off, the thermostat started working like perfect again. So I was just like, all right, well,
I know me and you's talking about it, and I try not to preach to people, and I try not to be that guy. But I've always said, like, I've been there. You know what I mean? Like, I've done it, and I've lost. Like, I've lost eggs, like a son of a
right,
bitch from them, like Belkin, Amazon thermostats for like growing plants. Essentially, is what they're for.
right,
But I've used those, and they will work, but they are not accurate. And like you said, they will mess up easier and faster from little things like the temperature fluctuating in the room. That's why I always stress to use like a herpes. I use Herpstat 2s, and it's got
well,
I got two plugins on each one for my incubator, one for my males, one for my females, and one for my baby. And I can control the temperature to each probe, and I can, have each probe do all these tens of different things like drop temperatures. And I mean, it's like a computer, but I love it. And ever since I bought that, I mean, it was a little bit of money, but it wasn't like breaking the bank. But it has saved my ass because it has a function on it. Not only, like them cheaper ones, they don't really have functions where if they get too hot, they'll just shut off the whole unit. You really want
right,
that, especially with
yeah,
an incubator. Your incubator and your racks, like, well, pretty much that's all you want to have that regardless. You don't
right.
want anything to be
Well,
too hot, and or not hot enough or fail, and with a Herbistat 2 or a Herp 4 or a Viv electronic or any of these bigger, and I hate to be like that because they're expensive and I'm a cheap bastard, but if you're gonna do this, you need to spend the money with heat
on the
tape
thermostats,
and thermostats. Yes, you have to have a freaking thermostat. Now, if you've got a pet ball python or a pet lizard in a aquarium style front opening glass enclosure or something, sure, throw a big old heat pad under it, put your substrate in it about 3 inches, and let it ride. That animal will bury it and get down to where it needs that heat or not, and it will move itself away from it if you have the right perimeters in that cage and stuff for it. But when it comes to tubs, plastic tubs and racks, especially melamine,
right,
melamine is compressed wood shavings with glue and chemicals and then laminated with plastic, essentially, or whatever that hard white stuff is. I assume it's kind of like plastic. It breaks like plastic and it'll cut the piss out of you. But it if that gets too hot, it is wood at the end of the day. So you do want the best thermostat, because I have a video I put out about checking your heat tape. I check my heat tape once a month because I came in here one day and I smelt some hot plastic, and I just happened to look at one of my cages and it had a little hole burning in the bottom of it, one of my tubs. And I looked at the heat tape and it had a hole burned straight to the heat tape and everything. And that
right.
was scary because I was like, damn, if I didn't see that, I would have sprayed the hell out of that cage and it would have soaked through and it probably would have caught fire. So everybody, I can't stress enough, use a good thermostat and check that damn heat tape. Even a heat pad, if you use a heat pad, if it gets any kind of discoloration on it, throw it in the garbage. I know
Right.
they're expensive, but you don't want your house and your animals to burn. That's
So
my worst fear.
there's two types of thermostats. One that works off of a direct temperature, and it gets to that temperature and it'll shut off. The other one works off of how many volts it takes to maintain that temperature. And
That's what the yeah.
that's what the herpstat is, the
Yeah.
vivarium electronics, the
I can
what's the
control the percentage of
yes,
electricity that each probe is, and that's what I'm saying. Like when you buy one of these nice thermostats after using something like a whatever, like a Belkin, I still use those, and I'm not going to say I don't use them, but I don't use them for stuff that if it fails, it's going to kill the animal or burn the house
right.
down. You know what I mean? I
So
use it for minimal stuff.
I did the math on like per zone. What is the cheapest thermostat to buy per zone? And the cheapest is actually, hey, what's going on, Tammy? Is a Herpstack 6 because
Dude, I want one so bad.
you could buy them for just under 500 bucks, and
Mm.
it's like $80 a zone because you got 6 zones, and that's just, I mean, yeah, it's 480 bucks, and you're probably paying 20 shipping, so you're probably paying 500 bucks. It's more like, $100 a zone. Now you can go buy the VE 100 that for like around 90 bucks. So I guess that's essentially the cheapest, but for that price, I mean, save up to 500. Get,
Yeah,
if you're going to do at least like 50 snakes, that one thermostat will run everything. And I
everything.
mean,
Well,
incubator,
see, that's
racks,
why. Well, see, I was gonna get the six, and I kind of wish I did, but the way my room is set up, I had to get two of the two.
right?
So
Because
because I have the probe wouldn't be long
the
enough,
probe
what
wouldn't
I
be
mean?
long enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can actually do the herb stats, dude. I'm glad we're talking about because I really love them. Like I fucking love them. But you can buy the probes for humidity.
Right.
So you could have, let's say you wanted your probe, you wanted you wanted your incubator on one thermostat. You could get a herb and use the herb 2 and use one probe for the humidity and one probe for the temperature. And that humidity probe says that it is one of the most accurate on the market.
Right.
And I mean, humidity is a big deal, especially in incubation. But to know that I could buy that and do that means a lot to me.
Well, I
Rep
use
stats not a bad it's not a bad one. I mean, you just have to think. You have to look at it in a sense. How much do I have invested in this, and do I trust it? And to me, I've never used that rep stat. I've known people to use them, and I've seen them at PetSmart. But you said you don't have the money to buy the herp stat, Tammy. But those rep stats are expensive. I think I don't want to say how much, but maybe if you bought one, if you want to throw it out there. But I
I
think
think they're like 30, 40 bucks.
the one I saw was a little over $100, the Zoom Ed thermostat at PetSmart. But I don't know, you know what I mean? That was a while ago, but I
Right.
could be wrong. That might have been like a 4 plug-in or something. I don't know, but regardless, the Herpstat 2 comes with two probes, and you can plug two separate units in and control it completely each. And I think it's definitely less than $200. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Right.
no more than 100,
I
like
think
a
it's
99.
I think the Herbstat 2 is 189.99, something like that.
Yeah, and it's worth it, man. But it's got the alarm. I mean, it'll shut itself off if you can set the temperature to. If you want it to shut itself off at 100 degrees, it will shut itself off, and it will not cut on until you put a password in. Like
Right.
it saved me a lot, like with my eggs, especially.
The other thermostats I use are from Inkbird,
Hmm.
and they're a $30-$40 thermostats, but they're the ones that I have to watch when the room gets above 80 degrees. So I mean, I wonder if ZoomEd, if those ones that Tammy use have that issue too. They
I
just
don't
kind
know.
of they just kind of get freaky if the room gets above 80, and it I don't know. That's one thing I've noticed, and I I just keep the air conditioner running in the summer so it don't happen.
He said it is the Repti temp, and it was 36, and it does one enclosure. So I assume it's got one probe,
Yeah, it's
maybe
got
two
one probe.
probes,
No, no, it's got
maybe
one
one.
probe.
It does have
Yep,
one.
yeah, it has one.
Okay. I mean, that's not a bad price, but to me, I don't know. I don't know the situation. Look, when I started doing this in like 2019, I had all my snakes on heat pads and the fucking tubs rubbed on the heat pads. And I mean, I never had an issue, to be completely honest, but I mean, I checked it. You have to check these things. This isn't even the or Herpstat 2, however you say it. I know I'm not saying it right, but it's not foolproof. It doesn't mean that if you spend $500 on the Herp 6 that something can't go wrong. So, however much you spend or whatever you buy, if you buy the Inkbird, if you buy the Belkin, if you buy the Zoomed ReptiTemp, you still need to check it, all the time. I mean, every time I'm in my reptile room, I'm looking at heat tape, I'm checking with my temp gun, I'm doing my due diligence because that's my worst fear. Like I've looked into having a sprinkler system put in my reptile room,
Huh.
just because
Right.
that's my fear.
Right.
She's in southern Texas.
Yeah. Well, it gets
Well, I mean,
hot. Yeah.
yeah, like I said, I mean, yeah, it gets hot anywhere in the South, but I don't know. If it works for you, hell yeah. If a Belkin or an Inkbird works for you, that's
Well,
dope.
from what I'm saying is, as long as you have your room air conditioned and it don't see over 80 degrees, then I think these cheaper thermostats will work. But when people run into issues with it is when their AC goes down and then that room gets
Yeah,
above 80 degrees and then them cheaper thermostats are going to malfunction. And that's kind
all
of,
them snakes are gonna be in their water bowl with their head up like this,
yeah, they're going to be like,
stargazing.
hey,
They're gonna be hot.
it's hot.
She said she wants to learn how to set up heat tape. I actually have a video of that.
Oh, that's
If
easy.
Yeah,
Like,
just scroll through
Tammy,
my
actually,
videos and I
don't
show
go,
you how to do it. It's
don't
easy.
watch the videos. Go to what's that called?
Don't tell her not to
Reptile.
watch the videos.
Well, no, Reptile LL.
Reptile
Watch the
Basic.
video. Watch the video, but go to Reptile Basics. Pay the extra $6, and they wire it for you. You could buy it wired and everything, and it works great. It's
See, I used
so
to do that. I
it's
used to get
so
them to do
not
it,
worth not having to do it.
and then I looked into it because I used to get them to do it, and
Right.
but to me, when I would do it, I have 50, so I would need 50 times six or however much it cost, and that shit got expensive. And then I was
Yeah.
looking at the price of a roll, and I got a roll, and all of the stuff for me to do it myself, and dude, it was like $200 cheaper. So for me, it was
Well,
easier.
if you're
It is
doing
easy. It's easy to do it. I mean, it
Yeah,
really
it
is.
is easy. But if you're doing a large amount, then I could see you doing it yourself. But if you're just getting it for like one or two racks, then
Oh,
you
definitely.
definitely
Yeah,
get it wired because it is
yeah.
just so much easier to have that part done already.
And I use different. I'm sure everybody does. I hope they do. If they don't, I mean, it really. I guess as long as it gets the temperature. But for like my males and my babies, I use 3 or 4 inch heat tape, and then for my females, I use 6 inch. You know what I'm saying?
I tell you what, I got 12-inch for the back of it, and I like it.
Well,
I
for
like
the
the
back,
back heat. Yeah,
definitely. But I'm talking about like for underbelly. But
yeah,
yeah,
for belly heat.
for the back, you could literally have the entire back as wide as your entire back of your enclosure heat tape, and it would be dope. It would be perfect.
They have 21-inch that I should have got because I could have put that in there and just curved it around the edges a little bit because it's 20 inches wide. I could have just like set that back there and just like let it flow around the corners, like and
Hmm.
then I because I thumbtack it into the middle. And man, I
Okay.
tell you what, putting thumbtacks in that melamine sucks.
I use staples, man. I
I
just
had to get a
staple.
hammer. I had to get a hammer and hammer them in because I can get them started, but I couldn't get them pushed down in. My thumb was hurting, so I hammered them in. But as long as you keep it in the clear part, you're fine.
Oh
So
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I, I laid it down and rolled it out, and then like you know thumbtacked it everywhere, and then
And the good thing about buying the roll, you can cut it at any size. I mean, of course, And that's the thing I want to kind of address while we're talking about this. I've never heard anybody really talk about it, but the difference in using a single piece opposed to a bunch of, a piece for
Uh,
each shelf.
Okay, so the advantage you get for using an individual piece, like a 2 foot section, and you run it together, if that gets damaged, you could just change that out, to where if you had it linked, you're going to have to take that whole piece out or cut it and, go from there. But
We'll
it's
see.
easier to have it cut and that, if that little 2 foot piece goes out or whatever, you could just take that out and replace it. If it's weaved all the way in and it's messed up in the middle, you're going to have to cut that section out, wire here, wire here. You know what I mean? Like it just makes it easier to replace if you have the individual sections.
Well, see, my thing with the continuous line or stream of it is when I did that, it was hot at the top, cooler in the middle, and really cool at the bottom.
Well, I
And
broke
I would
mine
I
up.
would mess with my, oh yeah, well I do now, and I do it really for the reason you said, because if one goes out, it's easy to unplug it from the box at the junction box or whatever, and or the whatever, the surge protector, and then throw that away and make a new one. But I did find that doing the long piece, because heat tape's only regulated for so many feet,
Yep.
so or so many inches. So you have to do and there is math you have to do. I mean, I'm not an electrician, but you can look it up, and it
Yeah.
tells you on reptilebasics.com when you're ordering it how many feet per volt or amp or whatever. And if you have a rack that is, let's say, I don't know, let's just say 10 ball pythons, right? A 10 rack, a 10 high rack, and you have one continuous loop, and it's going, I mean, that's
That's
going to
like
be
50
over
feet.
6 foot. Yeah, that's like over 6 foot tall, by the way, a 10 rack. So it's a, 50 foot of that or whatever. You have to think about what you're plugging that into, because you will start a fire at the outlet, or it's just going to keep flipping your breaker, and you're not going to be able to do it. So for me, having each individual one plugged into that surge protector, and then that surge protector plugged into my thermostat, it helps me out in the long run, because like you said, 50 foot of heat tape is not cheap. But if you get 50 foot of heat tape, a roll of it, and do each individual one, then if one goes bad, you're not going to have to be pulling every bit of that out. You know what I
Right.
mean?
You only have
And
to
it's a
change
tedious
one.
process. Yeah, you only change one. So I would love to do back heat. And actually, I've thought about doing back heat for my babies, because I've heard, but I've never run into it. But I've heard that sometimes they get burns on their belly, or they'll fall asleep on the heat spot. But see, I'm just not a believer in that, because
Then it's getting
it's
too
an,
hot because they won't
yeah, I
get
mean,
burned at 90.
well, they would know. I feel like they would know. Like, wouldn't they know to move? I mean,
I mean,
it's hard because it's never happened to me. And I've got to be honest, I keep my baby rack a little hotter than I do
yeah,
my uh any of my other stuff. I mean, my
I've
baby
learned
rack
that too.
is 91 if you hit the hot spot with a temp gun. But my babies will move in the water. They'll move towards the cooler end of the tub, and they'll chill there, and then they'll get in the middle of the tub if they, you know what I mean? Like, they're able to move around to be able to regulate that temperature. So I just don't understand that. But I wanted to do ambient heat with
Right.
no heat, like no heat tape, but I wanted to do like, I tried to make my room like Africa, and it didn't work out well. And it was not it's not easy to do that. And I live in Alabama, and it's humid as hell, but you have no humidity in your home.
Right.
For you to pump that much humidity into a house, in a room, you're going to mold the whole house. The whole room will just be moldy, because
Yep.
you just can't do that. So for me, I had to switch back to that, and you know
I find it
then
out that
nothing was thriving, so I went back to heat tape.
if you have high humidity in your tanks, drill some holes in the side of it, and it totally takes that humidity problem back out. I mean, they need airflow too. I think
Oh yeah,
airflow
yeah.
is just as important as humidity. And I run a HEPA filter in the snake room, and it seems to do good. But I haven't
Well,
had no
see,
issues out here either, so I don't know.
well,
I
see, the humidity thing is a hard thing because you want it humid, but if it gets too humid, they'll get a respiratory infection, and
right,
if it's not humid enough, guess what? They'll get a respiratory infection.
right,
So it's a hard thing. I think I'll say everyone says ball pythons are an easy animal, and I don't believe that. I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody this is a beginner snake. This is an easy snake. To me, a beginner snake is like a rat snake because you got to think of the wide variety range of rat snakes, and they can tolerate humid area, they can tolerate drier, like you're able to manage that a little easier. But
right,
you go buy a baby ball python from the show or from a PetSmart, and if you don't have that humidity down, the heat, yeah, the heat, as long as it's 87, 85, they can live and thrive at 85 hot spot. They can, if they're going to be metabolizing their food slower, and they're probably not going to thrive as much, but they're not going to get health problems like they will with the humidity. So to me, humidity plays a vital role. And if you can't, to me, you can have, I think it's better to have not enough humidity than too much because I can always add humidity by spraying it. But if you have n- too much humidity, you can take the lid off and it's still going to be just pouring water in there. You know what I mean?
right.
So humidity is a hard. What if they knock their water over, and it soaks it and it's really humid?
That's when the Reptichip comes into the play. Like that's why I like the Reptichip because I don't have stationary bowls, and the Reptichip just sucks up that water. Because I mean, I don't fill their water dishes up. I just put a very little bit because I check it every day. And if they dump
Mhm.
it, like it seems just to work itself out that day. You know what I mean? Because the heat in the tub, and then just add a little bit more the next day. Like most of
I'm
my
glad you
females,
said that.
anyways, like to lay in it. So
I got to order some more cocoa to go after this live. That's
I
what I
gotta.
like to use. I think that stuff is it's like kitty litter absorbent.
Oh yeah, the cocoa to go. It does suck up water. I say it a little bit
Mhm.
better
Well, I
because
was
it's
going to
bigger
talk
chunks.
also.
It's chunks.
Yeah, definitely. And I like the chunks. I don't like the cocoa fiber or anything really fiber like fine because I'm going to be honest, I've had like mouth rot issues and stuff of that nature with stuff getting in their mouth and infecting it with that
Uh,
like the cocoa bricks you buy at the PetSmart that are like Eco Earth, and it's
yeah,
compressed cocoa fine, fine, like dipped. It looks like coffee grounds.
yeah,
I try to stay away from that because that's what I've encountered. And with the chunkier stuff, like even a cocoa husk, Exoterra, or any of that stuff works good. But cocoa to go, of course, and Repti chip and stuff, you're going to get more bang for your buck. I mean, but I just don't, I don't know. But I was wanting to talk about the cost of feeding of your rats. And I was just ordering rats on Rodent Pro tonight before we did this live, and I have to talk about it.
right.
The cost difference between live and frozen thawed.
Well,
What, yeah, what is your opinion on it, and why do you think, which one do you think is more expensive, I guess, and why?
live is more expensive. I bet you got to get in with the shipping costs, as well, because the shipping costs with frozen thawed, if you're ordering a bulk order, is it could be expensive. It could be up to a
Okay,
hundred
well let me
dollars shipping.
well let me say this. I'll just throw this out there. This way, that ain't even on the table because I don't know if everybody knows, but Rodent Pro does free shipping over $100.
Okay, well, okay, there you
So
go.
we'll take
So
that off the.
So it take that off the table because you're spending damn near $100, every time you feed. And I mean, if you have in a collection over 50, you you're spending $100 every time you feed, no matter if you do live or frozen thawed.
But with
Now,
50, you're spending more than 100. Yeah,
well,
easy.
I mean, I feed live and I feed weekly, but I can only feed weekly is because I have a rat breeder that sells me rats cheap as fuck. Like I have a Chris, like everybody needs a Chris, a guy near them that breeds rats. That's like in this not for the money really. He's in it because he likes these animals and he likes to see other people doing these things. And his explanation to me is why he was giving me so cheap of prices is maybe one day he'll want something from me, and I'm going to go, dude, here. You've been hooking me up with cheap prices on rats for all these fucking years. Here, take us. It's the least I can do for you. You
Yeah,
know,
definitely. Well, and again, people, this conversation and this topic is for people that don't breed their own rodents. I just want to throw that out there because, yeah, of course, you can breed your own rat. You can do that. But this is for people that don't have the option to do that or just don't want to. So basically, what we're saying is like if you use Rodent Pro, which is free shipping over $100, then it's
take
more
advantage
cost
of it. Order
effective
over 100.
to take advantage of that. Yes. Well, see, like for me, they have actually everybody, they have a discount going on at Rodent Pro right now until I think tomorrow evening. It has like a day and a half or some shit left on it. But if you go to rodentpro.com and it'll say it 25% off all rats. And I'm
Nice.
talking about I spent $180 and I have so much coming to me. I'm talking about bags and bags and bags of rodents. I got hamsters. You know what I mean?
Nice.
I try to do a variety, so I get like chicken, sometimes quails. So this time hamsters were on sale, and they always have deals. But yeah, if you spend over 100, it's free shipping. But like, let's say, okay, one bag of 10 medium rats is $44, but you get 25% off. But even without the 25% off, do you think that that is a fair price?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. I do too. But I'm just saying, a lot of people I talk to, they're like, they see that and they're like, I don't think that's good. And to be honest, I mean, if you have, let's say you get 10 medium rats for, sometimes they're $36, right? So you're getting that, but that's only, they think that's only one feeding. You know what I mean? And
Right.
yeah, you're right. It is. But it's, and again, I wish I could breed my own rodents. Like I wish I had the opportunity to have a building outside that's air conditioned and heated because I'm not doing it in my home. I'm not
Right.
doing it in my house. I'm not doing it.
That's what I concluded to. I'm not doing this in my house. It just
No.
it stinks.
And my and people can frown on live feeding. I don't fucking live feed unless I absolutely have to. Ken knows me. He knows how I feel about it. I don't like it, but I do it. Everybody that breeds any kind of snake is going to have to feed live at some point.
At some
It's
point,
just
yeah.
it's the reality. So you have to take that with a grain of salt and you have to be able to get over it. I'm not going to post it and I'm not going to show it, whatever, but I will say a funny story. Last night we had a bunch of like tornado weather here in Alabama, and I live in a modular home that's like off of the ground. It's not like a slab built home. So I went to my dad's house, right? And my sister is like 21 or 22, but she still lives with my dad. And she went to PetSmart and she came home with a mouse. She bought a pet mouse for $7 at PetSmart.
Yeah, $7.
Okay, well, check this out. No, my dad is completely, utterly terrified of rodents. And when I say terrified, I remember there was a time when I was a kid, and we lived in Butts County, Georgia, in Jackson, Georgia, and he was standing on his bed in the middle of the night shooting his 22 off in the house. Well, there's a damn rat running around, right? So she thought it was necessary to bring that son of a bitch in his house. So, needless to say, that mouse had to come home with me today.
Huh.
And I have one snake that is an acid het clown male that I'm really wanting to breed, but he won't eat, and he won't eat because it's frozen thawed.
He
He
only
will
takes
not.
one.
He will not. I'm talking about. I'm all in his face. Eat this shit. Eat it. Eat it. Eat it. Come on. Come on. Rubbing his tail, just aggravating the piss out of him, and he will not take it. I put that live mouse in there, and boom, instant. I mean, instantly, he was starving.
Yeah.
And these animals will starve themselves to death. Don't
Yep.
think they won't. They'll starve themselves so much that they get to where they don't have the energy to eat that animal. And you'll see it. Their stomachs will be concaved. I mean, it's a sad thing, but it will happen if you're not able to be able to throw a mouse or a rat in there. And that sucks. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. $180 at Rodent Pro for me is not even like, it's probably a month and a half.
Right.
So when people say you're only in it for the money, I think they need to really look at my finances, because if
Right.
you do the math, if I'm paying 180, and that's not even like, I still have stuff in the freezer like mice and stuff that I feed my hatchlings, or the ones that I hatched, and like my slow growers. And that's maybe a month and a half. So you're thinking, let's just say $200 a month and a half, and I'm probably pulling in $100 every 2 months, 3 months, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe well, when we go to the show, we make a little bit. And I'm gonna be honest, we do good at shows because we are who we are. We know who we are. We're not ashamed of who we are and what we breed. I have
Right.
pastels. I have the most beautiful normals that you'll see on anybody's table, and I take such pride in that. And I'm not selling it for less than $50. Yeah, you can go to their table and get one for 25, but I've got pride in my animals, and I'm gonna, I want to know that you're buying it. If somebody buys a $25 animal, they don't care about it. Even a $50 animal, they're probably not really going to care that much about it. It's sad to say, but that's why even my normals are really, really $80 to $100. But all my stuff has other stuff in it. I just don't know what it is. But I feel that's a fair deal because there'll be rust colored normals and stuff like that. But I have to make something on it because, like I said, $200 a month is that's expensive. You know.
I think a lot of people have snakes that they don't know what's in them. So that's that's
Oh,
not uncommon.
I was talking to Ewok, and me and him was talking about like hidden
Ewok.
genes. Yeah, everybody says Ewok, but it's not because he doesn't have a K.
Well, I came up with that because Ewok sounds stupid, so Ewok sounds better.
Ewok hits on two things. It's like a Star Wars thing, and then it's like his initials for his thing.
Well, Ewok is the Star Wars thing. That's what they're called. Ewok,
I
not
know, but it's a
Ewok.
play. It's a play on it.
Well, I call it that. Ewok.
You're a nerd. You're a Star Wars nerd,
Probably.
aren't
Yeah, a little bit. I have a lightsaber.
What's the frequency, Kenneth?
Come on now. Let's talk about it.
I'm sorry. I had to do it.
Roll
I'll just
Tide.
aggravate you. Roll Tide. That's what I'm talking about. Go
Roll
War
Tide.
Eagle. Mm, I don't know about that one. Whew. I'm talking about that is like drinking roof tar.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be brutally honest with these beers. That's midnight special.
With the midnight special.
That's what I'm talking about, buddy.
Shine a
But
light on me.
got a nice little picture of a train owner. This is a
Midnight
Huntsville.
special.
They're from Huntsville
Shine a
too,
little
Huntsville,
bit of
Alabama.
light on me.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
look,
like that song.
me too. It even says "shine a light on."
Yeah, shine a light on.
But yeah, this is Yellowhammer, Yellow
Yellow Hammer.
Hammer Brewing.
Yellow
They're
Hammer.
from Huntsville, Alabama. If anybody out there is watching this and you brew beer, and want to send me some beer, send it to me, and I'll drink it.
I'll
If you
drink
make
it.
liquor,
Yeah, I'll drink.
you can in Alabama you can legally make a gallon of moonshine a day. So I'm sure you could just send some through the mail too if you make it. So just go ahead and you can send that too. Just hit me up.
Send it. I mean,
Send
I
it.
like trying, like I'll drink moonshine, but it'll be like during the holidays. And so if you make moonshine and would like me to shout you out during the holidays, send me a sample pack.
Send him some liquor.
I only drink every once in a while. Maybe my birthday.
He
We might
drinks
do
on
a
his
July.
lives during the holidays.
We might do a July drinking show. I mean, I don't know.
If you do a July drinking show on any of y'all's things, you have to invite the Sippin with Serpents.
Oh well, you know it. Come on now.
But yeah, I mean, I've hit on everything I've wanted to talk about. I heard you got some snakes coming to you. What
Well,
you want to talk about any of them, or are you trying to keep them a secret?
no, there ain't no secrets here. I mean, there's I got them in the other day. Um, there's a set that I'm gonna not talk about too much, and that's my green ghost stuff. I mean, I'll talk about them. It's not a secret, but
Yeah, the green ghost. Look, I'm stoked for you about the green ghost, man.
well, people like there's mixed emotions on it. Like I'm not gonna
Well,
talk any names, but I talk to a lot of people, and some of the people are like, "Yeah, double up the hypos. That's cool. I mean, I want to see it. I want some. You know what I mean?" This. And there's other people that are like, "Yeah, it would be like doubling the Xanthic. I wouldn't do it." Like, so there's two sides to every story, and
the only side that matters is your side.
it's what I want to do. You know what I
And I'm
mean?
stoked.
And
I think that that is something that, like you said, nobody really fucks with. Nobody's really talking about, and who knows? I mean,
maybe
you
I'll
know,
make
and
something green.
it's a cool gene. You know what I mean? What does it necessarily do though? What is it? Is it a codom, a recessive? Is it
It's a recessive hypo. Like the green ghost is a
a
recessive hypo
hypo
line.
on the same allele as the hypo shit?
It's just not compatible. You know how all the other lines of hypo are compatible? This
Okay.
one's not compatible with any other line.
See, to me
So
that
that
makes it cool.
well, that makes me think that this 210 hypo line that came out is Green Ghost because he's saying it's not compatible to any other line, but he's selling it for like 10 grand a snake. And if it's just Green Ghost, then it's like, what are you doing? Like, did you check it with Green Ghost? Did you breed it with Green Ghost to make sure it's not compatible? And I bet you he didn't because not too many people work with Green Ghost, and that's why I got me into it because I haven't seen much of them. And I think as far as a het green goes, I think I've got the coolest female out there because I haven't seen anybody that has more than one or two genes, and I got a 4 gene um, het green ghost female. She's chocolate, HRA, pastel, smoke. And the smoke gene is the newer gene, and I'm just like, well, dang, I like what it
Yeah,
does.
I was gonna say I like that. I've been looking at it and I like it. I'm
I
trying to
like
get
what
into
it does.
different things like that, but I am stoked about the Green Ghost. I'm excited to see what happens with it.
Well, like the first year, I want to do like next year, like because they're hatchlings now. So hopefully, I get them up to size next year. When the male gets up to size, I'm probably going to put him to a clown. So like, I'll keep the better looking het clowns out of it because it'll be 100% het clown, 50% het green ghost, and hopefully, I keep the right stuff. I mean, I'm just going to try to get a green ghost line of green ghost clowns, and then when the female gets big enough, I'm because it's a het to het pairing, but the pairing's cool. The codoms are cool in it. Like the female, as I was saying, was chocolate HRA smoke pastel het green ghost. The male is HRA chocolate. So like that
I
pairing,
love chocolate.
I could hit a super chocolate red
Hmm.
xanthic like a double super. So that would be cool. A double super
Chocolate's
visual green ghost.
probably when I found out. See, we had chocolate by accident. Well, I guess it was an accident. It was sold. He was given to us as a possible chocolate, the
Right.
albino pinstripe that we have. But once we proved it to be chocolate, and them chocolate pinstripes and the chocolate champagnes, I mean, I fell in love with chocolate, and
That
I'm trying to get more chocolate into my stuff, and I like that, what chocolate does to albino.
that chocolate
It's just,
champagne you had was an interesting snake. Didn't you
I know,
sell that one?
yeah, I sold it, yeah.
I thought you did. Well, no kidding, you sold it because that thing was very interesting looking. I
And
mean,
I sold the mom. I sold the mom and that baby. Well, actually, we traded the mom for that Asian water monitor that we have.
oh well, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, the water monitor was like, we don't really, here in Alabama, there's not really a lot of opportunities to have stuff like that. And we are allowed to have an Asian water monitor here legally. Can't have a Tegu. You
but you can
can't have
have
you can have an Asian water monitor. So, god dang it, we're going to have one. And what
right,
just so happened, the lady next to us down in Mobile, Alabama, I wish I knew the name of it, but they own a pet store. And she had it sitting right there on her table. And as
right,
soon as Morgan saw that, my old lady seen it, she ran over there. And the lady was like, she knew that Morgan wanted it. And we've been
right.
talking to them, and they were really cool people. And so the whole time I'm over there working the table trying to sell snakes, I'm like, hey, let me get a snake, let me get a snake, fucking with people trying to get them to get their attention. Morgan's over there, got a crowd around her playing with a monitor. It's just
Right.
chilling on her shirt, loving on her. And I knew instantly, we're taking this lizard home today.
Yeah, that one's coming with us.
So the woman told her, she said, go over there to him and show him and see if you want it. She knew what she was doing. She knew that I couldn't tell her no. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna tell mama no? Hell no.
Hell no.
Yeah, baby, you can have whatever you want.
Right.
But yeah, so she came over there and it was so cute and cool, and then it pooped all over me, and I knew right then it was love at first. It was love at first
Right.
poop.
Yeah.
So I asked her. I said, we're not trying to buy anything at this show. My thing is when I go to a show, I'm not spending no money on nothing unless
Right.
it is something that is the best deal that I've ever seen, and I know that I need it. You know what I'm saying? For anything that I got working. But other
Right.
than that, usually I'm not buying shit. I'm there to make money. I'll
Right.
trade, but I'm not there to sell to buy anything. So anyway, I said, we don't really have a lot of money. She said, that's cool. I'll trade. And she owns a pet store. You know what I'm saying? She's basically a pet seller, not necessarily a breeder at all.
Right.
So she, I said, well, we have all these snakes. That's all we have is snakes. And she looked at that champagne and she said, well, I've been wanting a champagne for the store. And it was our proven breeder female champagne pinstripe.
All right.
And she took it, and we got the monitor. Now we're monitor owners.
Right.
I mean, and then I traded a mimosa for the Confusion Inchy Phantom, which I'm looking forward to her. I got her, and then I traded two snakes. I think one of them was a chocolate pin, and one was the chocolate champagne for the acid hat clown male that I just got to eat that I only eat live. And
Right.
I'm gonna breed the strange or the excuse me, that was stupid. The confusion inchy phantom with the acid het clown because I'm trying to get clown into my stuff, but I also want to try. I'm trying to disprove the saying that they're the same snake.
They are.
They are, but I'm trying to prove that there are differences between the two. You
Yeah,
get what
they're
I'm
it's
saying?
the same thing they have with every gene. They're line bred, so you'll see differences in this line bred gene over here because this guy's been working it for
So
20 years, and this guy's only been working it for 10. So there's going to
see,
be
what I
differences.
want to prove, I want to try to prove to myself is if you breed a confusion with an acid, if you can make a super,
Yeah,
because there's
you will.
super confusions. But what is it going to look
I think you will. I think you're going to get a super, and it's just going to look like a super acid or a super confusion. It's just going to be a badass looking snake. be honest with
But
you.
yeah, I'm not. I assume it's going to look cool. But my thing is I want to know what the differences are because there's got to be a difference. Because coral, glow, and banana, they're the same fucking snake, but there are differences.
Well,
And I'm trying to. I want to figure out what the differences is in certain snakes, but I'm trying to put clown in all of my stuff anyway. But so that's why it's het clown. But even if it was just the acid gene to me, I love it. And if I look at the confusion and the acid, like a normal confusion and a normal acid, they look very different to me. But that's just me personally. But I'm trying to figure
I
out
could
if I.
find differences in it, but I mean, it's polymorphism, dude. It's a bitch.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But my thing is, if you breed two confusions together, you get a super confusion. But if you breed two acids together, you get a super acid.
Right.
But if you
But
breed a confusion and an acid together and get a super, what is it? What is it going to look like? I
it's a
don't know.
super confusion or a super acid. I mean, it's
Depending
just
on,
like
yeah, I know though that to me, I don't know. It's like a paragon or whatever it's called, or you know what I mean? Like it's a, I don't know.
hair,
It's like Pandora's box, I guess. I don't know.
right?
I have to know, but
Um,
I'm in love with those two genes right
just
now.
like Trick, Blitz, and Hurricane. Like I was told the story on that, like, Trick was first, and the guy who invented Trick, or found Trick, not invented it, found Trick, like brought it out and it didn't do good. Like no one could sell he couldn't sell it, he couldn't do anything, no one really thought it was much. So he started selling them as $25 normals, and they were tricks. So somebody bought these $25 tricks thinking it was a normal, went out and started breeding it. One found Hurricane, one found and called it Blitz. So that's kind of where Trick came from, the Trick, Blitz, and Hurricane. And now, if you're talking about acid static, and confusion, like from what I heard, it all come from the same clutch. Some guy
Well,
bought it.
see,
Some guy
but that's
bought it
the
from
thing.
overseas and called it acid. Some guy bought it
Point.
from
At
overseas,
what
called it
point do
confusion.
we? Well, I get that, but what point do we stop doing that? Like, what point do we say, like you said, the first one was what, Blitz or Trick, whatever you
Trick,
said?
yeah, Trick was
Okay,
first.
so, well, whatever it is, whatever the fucking name they end up landing on, they need to stop doing that. They need to just say, this is what it is, this is all it is, instead of having these different names, because at the end of the day, that makes it hard to sell. How the hell am I going to market a super confusion acid? How am I going to do that? Why can't it just be
Say it's
one
just,
name
yeah.
that, you know what I mean? Acid or fucking static or confusion. Pick one and we'll
Well,
go with that.
when they get to testing of it, I think they tested acid and confusion and proved it's
Really?
the same. Yeah,
They can test that.
RGI's working the acid, static, and confusion stuff, and I think they need static sheds to see if it's the same.
But see, that's the thing is, if people think they have a static, what if it's just an acid? Or what if it's just a confusion? Like there's got to be a fucking difference. There's got to be. And I just want to know. I want somebody to be able to find out what the difference is, either visually or genetically, to where you can tell the difference between them. Because there has to be a difference. If they look different, or if they look the exact same, then sure. But if you look at a confusion and you look at an acid, they do not look the same. You know what I mean? So I want to know. I just have to know. It's bugging me. It makes me lose sleep at night. I'll come in here. I'm so stoked that I got that acid to eat, because I'm fixing to
Right.
start pounding him. I'm about to start feeding him every 5 days. He's about to start eating every 5 days because he's too small and he went without food for 2 months.
Right.
And he was sold to me as a juvenile. But we got like 30 seconds to an, and then it'll make an hour. Like I say all the time, I usually do this about an hour, but yeah, definitely Stout at the Devil was the
Stout,
better beer this evening.
stout at the devil.
Midnight Special, it's going to take me a minute to down this one, to drink this one. It's going to be one of them ones where you do this.
Just a sip. It's a sipping beer.
Yeah. But I want to give a big shout out again to Ken's brother at Fat Jack Sauce in
Fat Jack.
Pennsylvania. Hit him up if you like to barbecue and drink beer and watch podcasts. Hit him up on Facebook, Fat Jack Sauce. He'll make your own sauce special to you. Everybody, hit up LMK Reptiles right here for all your clowns and your future green ghost needs.
Hell
If
yeah.
anybody
Shout
needs
out to Wiz.
anything, yeah, Wiz Constrictors is doing a giveaway. Are you watching it right now?
Yeah, I'm on my phone, but of course I can't see. Shout out to Wiz.
Did you get anything? Have
No,
you won
they didn't.
anything?
They didn't. They didn't give away nothing yet.
Well,
They're
you ought to
about
go
to
in the
now.
comment. You ought to go in the comments and say "Sipping with Serpents sends their love."
Mhm.
But hell yeah, everybody! There's nobody watching right now, but I'm sure somebody will watch it later. Sipping with Serpents, #4, LMK Reptiles, 666 Serpents. Peace out.
Peace.